Lemon Amiga presents.
Hi there, and welcome to the 15 vertical shooters that you may not have heard about, and we begin with Arya Vaiv, published by Dongleware in 1994. Arya Vaiv is played with the mouse, and it's one of the few games which has mouse controls. And as you can see, once we power this ship up, it's pretty fluid with the mouse. In fact, it's more accurate than with the joystick. And when you get a few power-ups under your belt, it means we can speed up, and it means we can have some speed in this game. Arya Vaiv has some jolly music and some great mouse controls and some power-ups as well. You can see I've managed to bash my way through that wall, and I really did enjoy my time with this game. But on the Lemon database it only got 38%. At number 14 we have Artificial Dreams, published by Prism Leisure in 1988. As you can see, this follows a more psychedelic route along the vertical shooter format, and here we can touch items to gain things. In that case, it's an extra life. Artificial Dreams uses an artificial colour palette which doesn't look anything lifelike, and you can see that when we touch one of these walls we will die, and when we touch one of the enemies we will die as well, so it's not very easy to negotiate our way down this landscape. This game doesn't take itself too seriously, and the comedy music in this case gives away the fact that we're going to die unless we hit one of these warps and go into level 2. Artificial Dreams got 33% on the Lemon database. At number 13 on our list is Black Hornet, released by Hi-Tec Software in 1991 with music by Dave Lowe. And as you can see, this is another shooter where we have to navigate between the enemies, but also we have to blow up the buildings as well. And by holding down fire and pushing forward, we can actually dive bomb those guys, and by pulling back we can launch into the sky. And that means that we can avoid certain land-based enemies and fly over the top of them usually. Get one stupid life in the game, but we can continue, and we have an energy level, and if we crash into something we'll take on damage, and well, those meter readings at the bottom of the screen aren't too obvious what they do, but as long as they are in the yellow and not in the red, then that's fine. And you can see we can duck under some of the enemies whilst we're trying to take down the cannons, and if we are at the correct height we can do that, and if we are at the wrong height we'll crash. But at least there is a lot to see and do in the game. Black Hornet is an average game in most respects, and that's why it only got 33% on the Lemon database, but it's always fun blowing up trains, and this is a good waste of time for at least 10 minutes. At number 12 is Alert X, produced by Techland-Soft and released in 1994. You can see some effort has gone into the introduction, if only the same effort had gone into the game itself, which as you can see is a rip-off of SWIV. So let's press fire and check this game out.
Laser. Shield. Laser.
Anyone who's ever played Turrican will definitely understand that some of these sound effects have been ripped off from that game, and I think a recoloured map of the SWIV texture tiles have been used, and as you can see, this game kind of loops around with the same patterns of enemies. But it has got some interesting features further on down the line, including some ships buried in the sand, which is a nice feature.
Power.
Alert X runs on a kind of small screen, it seems, on our Amiga, and this is written in some kind of basic language, or maybe even the shoot 'em up construction kit, and this is fun for maybe 2 minutes, because it equally gets just as annoying, and there is no goal. It seems that the level seems to loop forever, with the same enemy patterns all the way throughout. Alert X unfortunately made it onto the Lemon database with a score of 46%, that's 4.6 out of 10, and 46%, well, it's a bad game. If you want to see a really good game made on the shoot 'em up construction kit, here we are with another one. Here's number 11, this is Super Raid, otherwise known as Raid 4, which was made on SEUCK by Fez Software in 1992. As you can see, Fez Software have recreated SWIV, and the Raid Series 1 through 4 is a homage to SWIV in different flavours, and this one, being number 4 and called Super Raid, is probably the best out of the lot. And as you can see, I think they've either copied or borrowed some of the SWIV tiles, and they've also taken some of the sound effects from different shooters as well. So far, none of the Raid series have made it onto the Lemon Amiga database, but you can see this one follows a similar format to the Commodore 64 version, with a strafing boss at the end. Hold on to your seats, at number 10 it's Typhoon, released by Kingsoft in 1987. I don't know about you, but I seem to have heard these sound effects before, and yes, this game seems to be slowing down a little bit. I'm not quite sure why, but that could be my emulator setup. You can see power-ups will flow down from the top of that screen, and you have to grab them, and the screen flows along different landscapes, and it's quite fun to play this like a Star Wars game. Typhoon got 50% on the Lemon database. At number 9 we have Jupiter Probe, released by Microdeal in 1987, and as you can see it was developed by Steve Back and Chris Q. And this is nothing to do with Jupiter or even a probe, as we fly along a green landscape with water, it seems, and an unusually slow batch of enemies. Jupiter Probe, released in 1987, of course has the 1987 graphics, and as we can see skipping through this footage, it's pretty representative of that era without too much exciting going on. And you can see some colour effects as we blow things up, and that's pretty good. And we can also destroy a lot of these things by blind luck, it seems. Jupiter Probe is unrated on the Lemon database. Insanity Fight makes it to number 8 in our top 15 bottom countdown that we seem to be counting through at the moment. And these are games that you've probably never even heard of, but I definitely had this back in the day, and it was released by Microdeal in 1987. In Insanity Fight, we get to control the speed of our ascent through this level, and we can even stop and take on the enemies one at a time, but I like to cruise through the level at a constant speed, just like this, unless I hit the turbo zone, and then we get fast forward through that level. And it's a bit of a Uridium clone, and I did have this back in the day, but it's pretty darn hard. But there is just a little bit something about this game, because this was one of the first games I ever tried on my computer. It might even have been the first one ever. I'm not quite sure, but this got 50% on the Lemon database.
Welcome to CRL.
Next up we have by CRL, no less, Black Shadow, which is number 7, and it was published by CRL in 1987, yet again. And we can see that we can change from male and female, not that that has any difference whatsoever, and for this I'm using the joystick just to show how bad that this game really is. You can see Black Shadow is merciless from the get-go, but we do get an Amiga boing ball just to destroy us, and we get other things which are definitely too hard to hit. And I'm playing this in 2-player mode because you can see the 1 and the 2 in the bottom corner, and that doesn't make it any easier either because I'm taking hits all over the place. Black Shadow got 30% on the Lemon database. Number 6 is Flying Shark, published by Firebird in 1988 for a change, and now we can see that we're flying a biplane, and this now takes on more of a World War II feel, and it starts off pretty easy, but it gets pretty difficult later on. Luckily we can always get some upgrades. Flying Shark is supposedly a conversion from an arcade game, and well, it's a 1988 game, so we get slightly more colours and it's slightly more fluid as well, and the plane still has some kind of inertia, but you can see that we are able to dodge some of these bullets. Flying Shark got 50% on the Lemon database. Number 5 in this countdown is Bones Brigade, developed by Genesis Software and released in 1989. And Bones Brigade is something that I've never even heard of, once again, but you can see that we can pick up collectibles, but some of those are embedded in rock, which on this landscape we can't always tell rock from real, but by colliding with those bubbles we should get the upgrades to continue. And yes, if the colour clash wasn't bad enough, we do have to squeeze through things, and with this particular weapon it will pause our ship whenever we fire it, but those things do wear off after a while. Of course, this game is absolutely nothing like Hybris in any way, shape or form, and you can hear that the sound effects are pretty quiet as well, and that means with this landscape made out of maybe 8 colours, it's a pretty dodgy game. Bones Brigade got 42% on the Lemon database. Number 4, it's Kamikaze, developed and released by Codemasters in 1990. In Kamikaze, this time we take on a monoplane, it looks like, and we have to take down all the enemies. And I think if you press the spacebar or maybe hold down that fire button, then you can drop a bomb and that blows up everything on that screen. In Kamikaze, the weapons do appear, but not very frequently, and you can see that if we pick up this side shot, that will make the job slightly easier, and unfortunately we don't get a massive spread fire until later on, probably when you're already dead. Finally, we get through the mid-level boss, and then we get to take on some more enemies, and you can see that we've used up all of our smart bombs on that boss, and we have only a few precious power-ups between us and the actual end-of-level boss, which is a huge tank, and you can see that this game is quite difficult. A lot of faults about this game, and that's why the fans on Lemon Amiga database rated Kamikaze 2.9 or 29%. Fast forwarding to number 3, it's SkyHigh Stuntman, coded and released again by Codemasters and released again in 1990. So as if Codemasters didn't have enough trouble in 1990, they had a double dip with this one, and I have to say that this game is even more merciless than Kamikaze, and SkyHigh Stuntman is, well, it takes quite a few hits to get through these levels, and it doesn't help with homing fireballs emitting from these targets. Luckily, we do have a space bar, and that can activate a smart bomb, and again reaching for that in the height of trouble isn't so opportune, so you might want to put your foot on that, or even program the space bar to an alternative button if you have an emulator. Finally, we destroy a power-up ship, but we are unable to collect those power-ups due to all of this action going on, and all of this action means that actually SkyHigh Stuntman has the highest rating on this entire list at 53%. number 2, we find Killing Machine, released by Atlantis in 1992. And straight away you can see 1992 does not have any bearing on these graphics, which are supposed to be high resolution, but I'm not quite sure. But the colour scheme, at least on offer, is on the basic 16 colour side. But a game is not all about graphics, and for Killing Machine to get all the way up to number 2 in this list means it has to be something special and something playable at least. And for me, despite the playability and the graphics and sometimes the frustration, I do like the music and I do actually like these environments, and I like that the power-ups come every so often so that you can collect them and you can keep yourself going. Unfortunately, you can see a mine, and that is a homing mine, and that will finish us off, and that's an unfairness in this game. It's a pity that the sound effects cut over the music, and I will award someone the bonus points if someone can tell me the actual tune, and then I can find that and play that on its own without the sound effects playing over it. Because I'm sure I've got this tune, I just can't remember the name. In Killing Machine, the aim of the game is to destroy things in order to get power-ups, and you can see those A's will give us a temporarily armaments boost, and that will slow us down as well. But unfortunately, those things which look like Star Destroyers cannot be destroyed, so you'll waste your time trying to kill them. Despite unavoidable homing mines, this game is relaxing as well as it is enjoyable, and you can see those bubbles always contain a shield, so just like Swiv, we can make use of that and keep ourselves going on that level. I actually had quite a lot of fun with this game, even though I'd never even heard of it, and so Killing Machine by Atlantis in 1992 has a score of 48% on the Lemon database. That means at number 1 on this list of 15 vertical shooters that you may or may not have seen or heard of before, it's Ultraviolence World, which is a carryover from the top 15 games that you've never even heard of, whichever part that appeared in, and that was developed by Vorlon Software and released in 1998 with the world's worst title introduction music. In Ultraviolence Worlds, it's an AGA game, so we do get a palette change, and unfortunately we do get some gameplay which involves some hard tracking through a level, and sometimes if we can blast away those indestructible blastable objects, then that will reveal some tokens. And it's important in this game to collect all the coins and all the tokens, and if you collect all the coins then you might just be able to afford a power-up at the end of the level, which costs 1,000 credits. So far that's 500 collected. just like Swiv, and before that Exevius or Xevious, that thing has rotating squares, which I'm not quite sure whether you can blow those things up. I don't think so. And the game moves between being very hectic and impossible and very quiet and easy, and this is one of the quiet and easy sections. And then at the end of all that, you do get an end of level boss. You can see that we've managed to collect 700 credits after all that, and that is not enough, unfortunately, in the shop to get us anywhere near the decent firepower on offer. And so that's a complete and utter waste of time, and it means that on the next level we are absolutely defenseless. Ultraviolence World has a score of 4.0, that's 40% on the Lemon database.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present Commodore Amiga.
The game!
Of course, I couldn't leave this list without a bonus item, and most people have seen this. This is Commodore Amiga the game, produced by J Corp, with the shoot 'em up construction kit, and released in 1989. And yes, this is a well-known game, and that means it wasn't included, but I'm never ever going to review this, but I wanted to include it, so here it is. Commodore Amiga the game is a bonus item because it really isn't a game, it's just a bit of fun meant to take the artificiaries out of Commodore Amiga, and as you can see we can blast away at lemmings and a few Atari signs and a few Apple logos as well. At the end of the game, we get to take on the bosses Irving Gould and Mehdi Ali, and of course, this game has been rated at 40% on that Lemon database.